The footy is back. The footy is back. The footy is back. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. And there's one question on everyone's mind. What the bloody hell is Aflx? I'm gonna try and break it down. So for those of you that are unaware, Aflx comes back this week. Well, the AFL men's teams come back this week. Aflx is going to be on showcase starting tonight in Adelaide, tomorrow in Melbourne, and then on Saturday we're going to have some games in Sydney. So how does it all work? What's the rules? How does it work? Why should we care really? Well, I mean, it's exciting. We've got AFL men's, we've got AFLW, we've got AFLX, soon we'll have AFLY and AFLZ. We're just going through the alphabet until we have 26 different types of AFL. So obviously my take on this is it's the equivalent of the indoor soccer of AFL. You know, the smaller field, the more goals being scored, less players, and so on. And going with that theme, it's also more than appealing to international audiences, supposedly, because they can then play it on a field that they probably have, more likely than the giant massive fields we have here. So let's go and begin with the field. It's about 110 meters long. You can run that in about 11 seconds. So the ball's going to be pinging all across the field. It's about 70 meters wide at its most. So it's just a little bit longer than the center square, which I think is about 50 and 50. So basically 2 center squares is the size of the field. Gee, that's real small actually. Give or take 10 to 20 meters on each side, obviously. So then, obviously we've got a smaller field, we're going to need less players. There's only going to be 7 people on the field. You can probably cover that field in 2 or 3 kicks. It's not a giant field if you can kick the ball 70 meters. Obviously Buddy's not playing, but you know, you can kick goals from halfway across the park, probably. And with only 7 players, that means there's only 3 on the bench. Now what the AFL have also allowed this week is teams can pick a squad of 20 players. So you pick 20 players, you pick 10 for one game, then you pick probably 10 for the next. Less chance of your dudes getting injured. If you want to, you can pick less people and have them double up on games. I don't know. But basically, they think it's going to be a more exciting brand of football, whatever. And here's maybe why. So for me, the closest way to, you know, pick how you're going to pick your team is sort of exactly how you would pick an indoor soccer team. Pick people who are versatile, that can play in multiple areas of the ground. You're going to want fast people, quick people who can apply a bit of pressure, and you know, you're not going to want a big tall lanky dude unless he's going to sit in goalies all the time, but you're not going to need that because it's obviously AFL. So every single one of your players will probably rotate around the ground at some point to give them a little bit of a rest up or whatever, even though the game is going to be very, very quick, and as I said, the ball's going to be bouncing around everywhere. Even with your ruckman, there's not going to be a standard ruckman. It's just going to be whoever the 2 tallest midfielders are at the time. Even though midfielders, they're pretty damn tall these days. They're like 190 plus, whatever. So again, you're going to want to pick people in your team who are quick, can do a lot. I don't care, they can tackle maybe. Then we go to more of the rules. So how's it going to work? Why is it different to AFL? What are the things that we're going to care about? What are we going to yell at? Basically the time for each half, there's only 2 halves, is 10 minutes. But there's no time on. So if someone gets injured, if the ball goes out of bounds, that's it. As soon as the timer hits that 10-minute mark, that's it, it's over. Geez, they love to have a lot of 10s. A lot of 10s, a lot of X's, a lot of 10s. So basically there's no time on. So just whatever happens, happens. And 10 minutes, that's it. 10 minutes and that's all over. And then I think there's like a 3-minute gap in between. So it's basically like playing a set of tennis and then a change of ends or whatever in the middle. There's still ball ups around the ground, but in terms of throw-ins, I think it's going to be last touch. And I think it's actually going to be like the last touch rather than the way it works in the women's, which is last kick or handball, the old lasso rule. And with that last touch, if the ball goes out of bounds, you cannot kick for goal and you cannot actually handball it from your position. So you're better off actually getting the ball deliberately out of bounds than you are rushing it through for a behind. Because if you do rush it through for a behind, you actually give the team a free kick
40 metres out directly in front, and they get the point. So it could be an 11-point play. Why an 11-point play? Because if you kick a goal from 40 metres and beyond, it is worth 10 points. 10 points. You can't kick it backwards, that's play on, that's an old NAP Cup rule. It's an old Wizard Cup rule if you want to go that far back. Instead of a 50-metre penalty, it's a 25-metre penalty. What else is there? When you're kicking for goal, you have 20 seconds on the clock. So that's 2 tens. 2 lots of 10. Two X's there. So 20 seconds to kick the goal or miss it embarrassingly because it's a really small field. So there should very rarely actually be an angle at any point. And then regardless of whether you kick a point, a goal, or not a super goal, a super goal, a super duper goal, which is worth 10 points, as I said, the ball will just be kicked in. It'll be kicked in straight away, sort of like you do in a bit of a training drill. If you are, training footy, you just kick it to one end. As soon as that person's about to take the kick for goal, you just bang it straight back in to the field. So that's pretty much it. The game's going to run relatively quickly, obviously 10 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes. Smack bang on the dot, so that's why we've got these very exact times between matches for AFLX. So hopefully it's an interesting and exciting concept. Obviously it's not gonna be as good as when teams actually win the premiership, so you can win your little X trophy, I don't care. We're the real deal. I haven't got my gold logo yet, I need to get one of those. But I think it's actually going to be more interesting than people think. I think it'll be exciting, but I definitely think that if it is going to thrive as its own competition and Big Bash-esque style that the AFL want it to be, they're gonna have to pick like completely different squads to AFL teams because they're not gonna want to risk players time and time again. Maybe if you have like I don't even know, like maybe they're probably going to push it for their celebration of football weekend, obviously the bye round before the finals. They'll probably try and have something and pick the best X squads, or pick X team, state of origin AFLX, and everyone's not going to care. But who knows what they're actually going to do. And I hope that at the Etihad one they bring the stands in, so it's kind of like it's at the soccer, because obviously the field's a lot smaller. But yeah, I don't know. What are you guys thinking of AFLX? Obviously, it's on tonight. Are you going to watch it? Are you not going to watch it? Do you care? Do you not care? But I think it'll be interesting. I was going to go, but the Tigers are playing in Sydney. Gee whiz, don't need that. Is this any way to treat a premiership side?